aren't enough cameras around here.
So which ones were
A lot of interest.
The mayor and people on this side of the table as well, so we're just getting some.
I believe they just went and turned up the. We have all those in favor of the agenda. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Item B, unfinished business. Mr. Woodland, you're doing the presentation of the results.
Yes, Your Worship. This morning I'm pleased to present to you the results of the alternative approval process. A report's been provided to you that describes the outcome of the process. It also indicates to you what the next steps would be should Council wish to continue to consider adopting loan authorization bylaw number 57, which is for the purpose of replacing the Johnson Street Bridge. I undertook earlier this week with staff of our department the review of all the electoral response forms submitted as part of the process. The total number of forms submitted was 11,736. Through our review, we determined that 1,864 forms were not valid. Primary reason for that is simply that people who submit the forms either don't realize that they're not City of Victoria resident electors, and the address given to us on the form was a residential address outside of the City of Victoria. So I certified that 9,872 forms were valid. That's well beyond the threshold number that would require Council to consider the loan bylaw after a referendum is conducted.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you for the report, Mr. Woodland. What we have before us is to consider the process that we would move forward with in terms of the referendum, and as Mr. Woodland has explained, if we move forward with the existing loan authorization bylaw, there are deadlines that we need to meet within that 80-day window, and we certainly heard very clearly from the public that they wish to have a referendum on this, they wish to have their voices heard. Certainly in what we've been hearing over the last number of weeks, there is a lot of information that the public is still asking for, and I think that's information that we can provide in a thorough and timely manner.
So, Mr. Woodland, my understanding is what we would be doing is we would be we would meet at a future date. We would essentially put forward a new question to the provincial government, essentially setting forth a referendum on the loan bylaw.
You would not have the opportunity to put that new bylaw to an alternative approval process. You would have to move that bylaw directly to a referendum to comply with the legislation.
I support Councilor Madoff's suggestion here. I think moving to the March 6th referendum date would be
because we value engagement, and because we value democracy, and because we have moved forward in adhering to those two sets of principles, I believe we will move forward and respect the direction we've been given by the community and move forward to a referendum. I do support Councilor Madoff's motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The AAP process, as imperfect as it was, is designed to be a sounding bell of our community's moods. And I think there's no doubt through the results that we've seen that the community would like to have more input and more say on our process in the bridge. Some have suggested that the AP process is too easy, that it's too easy to gather those signatures. Some have suggested, I agree. Some have suggested that it's too hard, that it's an impossible obstacle to overcome. I just want to recognize the hard work of the people who did all the signature gathering. I can't help but be impressed by the amount of signatures that have been gathered and by the turnout of our community in expressing their feelings about this borrowing bylaw. So congratulations to the people who put so much time and energy into this. Over the next few months, we're going to see more information come forward, and this council is committed to looking at all the information that comes before us. Absolutely interested. Try and do this in a way that's going to have the least impact on the economy of our residents, but also the least impact on the economy of our downtown core. And for many of us, part of the decisions in voting for our new bridge over refurbishment has been concerns over the downtown business and the impact on the downtown businesses of a refurbishment option. If someone would be able to address what the state of the federal funding commitment to this project is, if this project is put on hold.
commitment, a contribution agreement for $21 million for a new bridge. And that commitment is to have that used, and I believe the date is 2016. Is that correct? That is there, it is in hand. Any other use, if we look at another option, would require a new application?
Not ready yet to go to referendum. I think there's work that we have to do before that, and I think to me that was the message of the AAP, which is the public needs more information. First thing, following Councillor Lucas, I entirely agree. We should go back to our funding partners, go to the federal government and say to them, we are now going to start looking at alternatives. We're going to start looking at the possibility of repairs versus replacement. The first thing, following Councillor Lucas, I entirely agree. We should go back to our funding partners, go to the federal government and say to them, we are now going to start looking at alternatives. We're going to start looking at the possibility of repairs versus replacement, probably at a lower cost. We don't know for sure yet, but are you prepared to participate with us on that same 1/3 basis as you were prepared to participate with us on the new bridge? Similarly, as Councillor Lucas suggested, we should go back to the CRD and say to them, we asked you last time only on the possibility of a new bridge. We'd like to consult with you again on whether you'd be prepared to support us in going forward for provincial grant funds for repair of the rail bridge, which is in principle a separate project, for the possibility of additional pedestrian amenities if they were in the context of a refurbishment project rather than a replacement. I have an opinion, of course, but I think we can only get that answer from our public. Similarly, our public can tell us about other things. Councillor Luton suggested that no fixes will provide a satisfactory level of service. Well, I think we will probably get different opinions. But in order to engage with our citizens at a meaningful level, we also have to be able to provide them with the technical information that they need to have a second look at the technology of repairs and look at other ways of doing it. And then ask the question, are there add-ons that can increase the level of service of the bridge, perhaps different services, add-ons to the bridge that may have been found impractical in the past, but in the context of a total repair, maybe we have to go to our public. I think we have to ask our public's opinion, we have to ask the opinions of our co-funders, and we have to ask technical questions. Once we get those answers, I think we will probably we'll get some opinions back, and I think a view will emerge as to what question we want to ask and we need to ask. And indeed, we may find that the level of controversy declines. It may not. We may still, at the end of the day, have people who want new, people who want the old, and there may be no other choice but let's vote.